Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. This is April and Aaliyah.
Hi, everyone.
Today we're talking about what to let go of and what to keep for posterity, and I thought it would be a perfect conversation to have with Aaliyah because she is part of my posterity and we've been sorting a lot of things lately. And I think that this topic works really well with the organization aspect that we talk about a lot here at Learn, Do, Become, because these are the decisions we're making as we're cleaning out closets and garages and, all that. But this is also a lot of the, life architecture aspect that we discuss in our Arise membership and throughout Learn to Become. Because as we're making decisions on how we're going to pass on our values and what kind of a legacy you want to leave or what type of memories or experiences that you want to create for those that you love, whether it's children, whether it's your close friends, we want to be thinking about these things and just be deliberate about it, because we have a lot of people who come to Learn to Become who have either inherited a ton of stuff and don't know what to do with it, or who are just trying to figure out what to keep because they love their friends and family and they don't want to, leave anyone wanting, I guess.
Yeah, or throw anything away that might be needed or wanted later.
Yeah, so Aaliyah and I brainstormed this for a while, and at first it's kind of a hard topic because there's a lot that goes into it. But then we actually decided there were just a few questions that we could ask, and this just makes sense for us and the way we look at it, but hopefully this will just spark some good thoughts for you. So with your unique situation, you can actually start deciding what you do want to keep and what, maybe it's time to let go of or donate, and hopefully you can feel some relief and a little excitement as you create clear, calm space and just have more room in your life for the things that really do matter.
I love that this can be adapted to whatever you're interested in doing or not interested in doing, because something that works great for us might not be what you want to do, but then you can pivot and shift around a little bit and create a process that's great for you.
Well, and this morning we were sitting in the kitchen. Aaliyah and Josh are here visiting, and Eric and I were there in the kitchen with her, and we started talking just about the concept of Swedish death cleaning, getting your house ready for when you go. And I just said, Aaliyah, I'm going to leave it so good for you. I'm going to have it all cleared out and basically done so that you can just, move forward and you don't have to sort my stuff. I just didn't want anyone to have to spend a lot of time sorting through random things.
And it can sound kind of morbid when you put it like that. Like, here you are with, your family in the kitchen talking about, I am setting you guys up for when I pass away. It's going to be the easiest thing to process my house. And of course, that there is some truth to that. But I think it does help us focus on the fact that in someone's passing, it can be a true celebration of life and not another thing on your to-do list of, now I need to go clean out a house. Now I need to go sort through piles. Now I need to do all these things that don't represent that person in that light of the memory that you want to have them in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that can dampen the mood even more when you're like, oh, the last thing I want to go do is celebrate someone's life with piles of trash.
And we hear that a lot.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot. So, okay. So first question that we just thought about was, what do I want to say with my life? I think this is a good place to start, because when you actually leave and now you're home and your whatever acts of service you've done or whatever things that you've left, that's going to, speak for you. What do you want to say with your life? And so as we were thinking about it, the first thing that came to my mind is I want to really emphasize the people that I love, the relationships, the time we spent together, the memories we created. Like, that's what I want people to remember, is just how they felt and that they felt really loved by me. I don't know, any thoughts?
I think that's very much what I was thinking. I think knowing that you can have these journals or photos and, just the experiences with these people and not needing to have a physical item tied back to every single thing. It's really freeing when you can realize that the things you did with people in just like small moments of service or small moments of spending time.
Or the humor.
Yeah, that can create a lasting memory that transcends the need for a physical thing or a pile of stuff to represent that person at that instance.
Yeah, well, maybe let's just talk about the photos and that type of thing for a bit, because so my parents passed away, both of them, in the past, 6 years. And one of the I have a few boxes of theirs, but the main things that I wanted and that matter to me and to my siblings are their photos and journals. And so we had this big project you probably heard me talking about on the podcast, where Spencer scanned all of my mom and dad's photo albums And that's what we gave my siblings for Christmas, was just all the files scanned and organized, because as we look through the photos, at first we thought, well, maybe we could just all split up and everyone can take a couple albums, because there's maybe 30 to 40 albums. But then I thought, well, no, I want us to be able to have, Linda's graduation pictures, or, Bobby's baby pictures or whatever. I want to be able to have that too, even though they're not of me. And so we just did the scanning project, and it has been beautiful, because as I look through the photos, I just keep thinking, like, this is the life I want to create. I want to create this love and the fun and the joy, all these moments that we have. And so that was a big project that I worked on. Aaliyah's also working on a big digital project, or digital photo project. Do you want to share about that?
Yeah, we have all of our family photos on external hard drives, and we've been really diligent and consistent about backing up all of our family photos since I was pretty much born, since digital cameras were a thing. And so what happened is we have all of our pictures on these hard drives, but they were really hard to access. You had to plug it into the computer, choose the file. Each file only has like a handful of pictures, and it was just really clunky. And so I've been taking all of our favorite family photos, and just most of the ones with people in them, and putting them into Google Photos so that we can easily access them, have family photo nights where we pull up the computer and
watch little videos.
We watch the videos. Yeah, we look at the memories like 10 years ago today, this is what you guys were doing. And so it's been so fun where, yes, it is a big project and it does take some time. But when I look back, and I do have these video interviews of my grandparents, or, the music videos we made when we were in elementary school or whatever, it's so fun to be able to have those memories and just have that to look back on, and it doesn't take up any of the physical space.
And she's also been sharing little photos as she goes through them. And we have a little family Facebook Messenger group. And so, every once in a while, Aaliyah will post this funny photo, or here's a flashback. Look, Spencer's liked cars since he was 2. Or, here's Dad holding Sunny. Look how cute. And, we have all these fun photos. So these memories, as you've been going through it, I feel like it's really been bringing our family close together, not only in our family video nights, but just as we've been looking at that. And so just as we think about that question, what do I want to say with my life? That's where I think, as I look around at what's in my closet, what's in my desk, what are the actual items that I would want to, I would want my children to keep and to want. Typically it is those things. It's, these photos. And my mom had a bunch of journals, and most of them we're going to just, recycle or, get rid of, because a lot of them were just like, oh, here's my checklist for the day, and it's fine, kind of interesting, like she got an oil change or, whatever. So we have little things like that. But she did have a couple of journals that were specific, written just for us, where she shared the things that were most important to her heart. So it's those journals. And my dad, he wrote his life story. My sister gave him a little document that had a question a day for a year or something like that, or maybe one a week or something. And so he wrote in his handwriting the answers to all those questions, and then made photocopies for each child. So we have this little booklet of his, most precious memories. And so stuff like that, 100% so important. As I was cleaning out their house, I didn't need all their sweaters, and I didn't need all their blankets, and I didn't need the dishes. I mean, maybe like one dish that was special, but there was so much stuff. And my siblings did the majority of the work because they were more local to where my parents were living. But it wasn't that stuff that I wanted. It was like these photos, right, and these journals and things. So anyway, so that was kind of the first question. What do I want to say with my life? And then, do you want to do the second question?
Yeah, second one is, how do I want my love and values to be passed on?
Okay, so this is something that Eric actually thinks about this a lot. When we talk about life architecture, he'll talk about a 50-year plan. And some people say, well, I'm 75. I don't have a 50-year plan. And Eric's like, I actually disagree. I think everyone needs a 50-year plan, because part of those years might be when you're alive. Part of those years might be later on after you're gone. What do you want to leave for your posterity? What are those things that would help them? So one of the things he's working on right now is a little box for each child, where everyone, like, there's a little special Christmas decoration that just makes all of us laugh. And so he bought one for every child to keep. We also make these little crepes. And so he has a crepe maker. He got one for each family member so that they can have it in their box. He has a little tooth fairy box that each child, got their little money, and they put the tooth in when they lost it. And so he wants one of those for each child. And then he's talking to Leah today about having a copy of all these photos so that everyone has a copy. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's something you want? I mean, I don't know, in all honesty.
I think it's nice that instead of being bombarded by a bunch of like, hey, you need to have this, and here's another thing to add to your apartment, here's another thing to add, it's only intentional things that have either something with a family tradition or a family memory or something that we've started within our just immediate family. And I do love that. Like, for example, the crate maker, it's something that his grandma used to make for him.
She called them Rolos.
Yeah. And so it's just this fun little family thing where a crate maker might not be something I would naturally like buy for myself and put in the kitchen otherwise, but because it is tied to that family memory and that tradition that's been passed down for 4 or 5 generations, that is something special where I know that my dad's not going to give me a bunch of stuff that I'm just going to end up donating or putting in the trash. He might have these 4 or 5 special items that have connections to our family and that I grew up with, and then I can choose to pass that kind of thing down to my family one day.
When we were first planning to talk about this topic on the podcast, I was thinking, well, this is probably more about me and my stuff and then whether Aaliyah wants it. But actually, the first thing she brought up as we were brainstorming was her 5-year boxes. She's already planning right now what she wants to pass on for her posterity, and they're pregnant with their first child due in a couple months. But just want to share about your 5-year boxes and how you were thinking about that.
Yeah, we have a 5-year box, so 0 to 5, 6 to 10, and so on. And it was just a banker's box. It wasn't super big, but basically whenever we'd have a special art project we'd do in elementary school, or maybe a medal that we were proud of or something like that, those special keepsakes would go into the box for that 5-year period of life. And then if the box started to get too full before the 5 years were up, I remember that 6 to 10 period, I was making so many art projects and I had so many things. And my
50 boxes worth.
Yeah, so many
much.
stuff, so many boxes worth of stuff. And my mom would kindly invite us to go through the box and pare it down so that only the most special things were getting kept. And it did help me to weed out those random math worksheets that I wasn't really going to love in the future.
But you took pictures of other things.
Yeah, but then it helped us to know that I can take a picture of an art project that isn't my most favorite, but it was nice. And so we probably have hundreds of pictures of art projects and math worksheets and random cardboard structures we made that we couldn't realistically...
An insect out of a toilet paper tube or something.
And so I love knowing that I never feared not having my keepsakes. I knew that I would either have them physically in that one box that was designated for my 5-year period of time, and then if it didn't fit in that, I could either recycle it, take a picture and then recycle it, but I never had to worry about not having access to my keepsakes or something to pass down. And now that I've gotten to be 23, I'm going through these boxes and I'm able to pare it down even more to now I have maybe two boxes now of the most special things that came out of those 4 or 5 boxes, because I've realized as we're moving apartment to apartment, I really don't want to be carrying so many boxes of stuff, and I can take a few more pictures, and I'm recognizing what really is important to me now at this stage of life.
I love that. And Eric actually just did a very similar thing where he had a lot of boxes of things that he'd saved back from when he was younger in high school and college and, graduate school and things like that. And so he spent, over the last year, he spent several hours. He went through just about every box and he combined things, he organized them. Now he knows where every box is. He has them labeled. And although there are still quite a few boxes, it's his history and it's very deliberate.
And it's very organized.
And so while our children may want to digitize all of it, I can't imagine our children will want to keep all of his boxes everywhere. But it's stuff that he's going to be using from now till the end of his life to bring out stories, to teach, to reflect,
Yeah, and I love how when he does have a story he's telling us, he can say, oh, wait, 1 second, and he can go right to his office closet, find the exact box in just a minute or so, and then he can bring us down these pictures and these yearbooks from high school, journal entries, yeah. There's no digging around the garage. I think I had this box here at some point, and I can't find it, because that's discouraging if you want to share something with your family, or you have it somewhere, but it's missing in action.
You can't find it.
Yeah, then it's really fun that he's able to just go right to his specific box, that specific collection, and then pass on those memories in real time and not have to dig through some clutter to find it.
Yeah, so hopefully that second question, how do I want my love and values to be passed on? I hope that can inspire you to be selective about what you keep, but, keep the things that really do represent what's most important to you. Because then, yes, your children or friends, the people who are, remembering you when you're gone, they can choose to keep what they want, but they don't have to.
And just one thing to add on to that, when my husband and I were getting married and we were kind of cleaning out his childhood bedroom and house, we realized there were a lot of those keepsake things that were kind of like on the bigger side or more physical objects. We ended up taking pictures of all of them, but then putting them in a special donation pile or designated area for about a month or two.
Incubating?
Yeah, so that way in case he did think, well, actually, I don't want to get rid of that blanket or I don't want to get rid of that trinket, then he knew it wasn't long gone and forgotten about, but he knew that this pile of stuff we took pictures of it, we documented it, it was safe, and then he could go back and get it, but I don't think he actually ended up taking anything from the pile because he realized, I've lived 2 months without even thinking once about any of the items in there, and I'm good. Like, maybe it was hard in the moment to let those things go, but then letting them incubate in a donation pile or in a designated waiting spot for 1 to 2 months, that was really helpful.
And 100%, I have never had an experience where I've taken a photo and made a decision, I can let something go, and then regretted it and wished I'd had it back. Even, I don't know if I shared it on the podcast or in a class, but there was like that quilt that I'd made that I was like, oh, I made this quilt. What do I do with it? Well, Aaliyah and Josh ended up taking it. They could use it as a picnic blanket. I haven't thought about it once till just now.
Oh, really?
No, because the quilt was important to me, but I have photos of it. I took a picture of you and Josh with it. And now
you were torn up about it for a second.
I was a little emotional about it because I made it and it represented my friends and it was, this really important thing. But until we just started talking about it, like I let it go and now I've had room in my, life. So I love that. And I think it's just a good thing to remember that incubation is a possibility, but taking a photo, then you can just go visit it whenever you want,
Because then that really helps you measure whether or not something's that important to you, because if it's on your mind constantly or you're waking up in the middle of the night, oh no, I hope I didn't throw that away. It was super important to me. I think the only times you've ever regretted throwing things away was when you didn't check and you didn't.
Yeah, that's the only time. Like my sister called me one time and said, hey, April, we got a bunch of your boxes here in the house and we need to, do something with them. Do you want them? And I didn't even know what it was. I didn't look. We didn't have FaceTime back then.
They didn't even open it.
They didn't open it and tell me. And I said, well, I think I've got everything I need right now. I don't think I need anything else. And then I realized it was like my magic set and like all this stuff that actually was really important to me. But you know what? I've lived without it. It's fine.
Yeah, so. But that was the one instance where you do have
I
that
just
regret.
didn't check.
Yeah, there was no action made. There was no quick making decisions and letting it incubate. It was just, oh yeah, throw it away. It's fine.
Yeah.
And that led to the regret.
If I'd at least had a photo of each item, I think I would have been fine. I don't need more stuff in my life, but I think you never want to just say, oh, I haven't used that box for a long time, just toss it. Just at least look, take a photo, make the decision. Okay, then the final question we were just thinking about was, will a physical item that I either leave or gift, will that actually be wanted? Will it be used? Will it be helpful to this person? Because in our culture right now, buying things is really common. It's almost a form of therapy. Let me buy something new. I'll feel excited about it. Or let me give someone an item because it shows I love them, if gift giving is my love language or their love language. But you often end up with a lot of stuff. And I think the people that we work with here at Learn to Become, a lot of them who are just trying to clear clutter, they're like, oh, well, my parents gave me this dining room set and they are determined that I keep it forever, I think just sometimes the big items, sometimes they can be helpful. Sometimes I just think they aren't. And so we talked about that with gift giving. We talked about a lot of things. What do you want to discuss?
I think right now, in terms of like the posterity stuff, I think in our family we have not a ton of physical things that take up space or that would be passed down. Some people really have like collector's items, furniture. They have like really important, bigger pieces that like pieces of art, pieces of like historical things that would be passed down. I think that's wonderful. That's not quite what we have in our family. But I think what really helps me think about this is in terms of gift giving is like, is this something that like the question says will be used and helpful and wanted? And I think it can be so tempting with the internet, with all these fun things that we see, to just want to buy knickknacks and trinkets and things to send to people to say, look, I'm thinking of you and I love you. And what I've actually shifted to doing is taking a screenshot and sending it to the person and saying like, hey, I saw this and thought of you. And it's mostly just to family because they know that I'm not trying to add clutter. But for example, there was this one company that was selling this cilantro scented soap soap because they made the joke that some people think cilantro tastes like soap, and that's what my dad thinks. He's like, I don't like cilantro. It tastes like soap. And so I screenshotted it, and instead of spending the $7 plus on the soap, I just said, hey, I saw this and I was thinking of you. And like, he knows that, hey, I was thinking of him, but I'm not going to send him a cilantro soap, even though I was tempted in the moment to just, that'd be so funny, I should order it. But it's another thing to pay for, another thing to store, another thing to deal with. And so I think that just helps me to think about what gifts can I give that are meaningful, that are going to be utilized, that are going to be, not just another thing for them to add to their house or their piles of stuff.
And I think whenever you have a really large item that's special to you, you just need to be okay with maybe donating it somewhere else. It doesn't have to go to one of your loved ones to matter. I mean, we do have things like my mom bought a piano, and then I have that piano. I think Aaliyah wants the piano at some point. Was it you or Grace?
I think I did want it initially, but after moving around now, I'm thinking like it's a nice piano, and I think that'd be great, but I really don't want to move it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have a desire to move a piano around with me.
So maybe Grace or Ethan might want the piano. I don't think Spencer, because he doesn't really play it. But if they don't, I'm okay that could go either to another family member or it could be sold or donated. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people keep things because they feel pressure. For example, so Spencer's our youngest, and we were cleaning his room a while ago, and he said, Mom, I have a lot of stuff in my room that I just keep because my older siblings gave it to me. But he said, I don't want to feel like I have to always take their stuff. And it was really smart of him. And I said, you don't. You don't have to take their stuff. You can thank them for it. You can take a picture. But once a gift is given, then it's up to that person to decide what they do with it. So I think it's just good for all of us to recognize that even if we love an item, I have this set of plates, or I have this piano, or I have a desk, or I have whatever. If our loved ones don't want it, that doesn't mean they don't love us. And doesn't mean our memory won't live on. It's okay. But I think it's important to do that. And I do have a few items, like my grandmother's desk. I love it. I painted it yellow, and it makes me super happy. I love this desk, but not all my children might want it, and that's okay. And so it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
And then but when you were talking about gift giving, I love this concept of giving the gifts that can be used for a period of time. Like my mom loved Suzy Zoo. My sister Laura, she got everyone a Suzy Zoo calendar for the year, so it reminds us of our mom. It connects us, but it's a calendar. You can use it for a year, and then you can recycle it. You can just kind of move on. So anyway, hope that this kind of got people at least thinking and feeling like you have some control over what you can do with your items, taking pictures or incubating or donating or storing, and then maybe just being really deliberate and thoughtful about anything that you decide you do want to pass on. Recognizing it's, that's not your choice whether that item lives on, but that the memories and the love is what you focus on.
And I think we've all had experiences, whether it's a neighbor or a family member or another loved one, where if somebody has passed away, we can see that aftermath of maybe what other people are going through in terms of decluttering or processing a lot of things. And then we can really see that those items aren't what made that person that person. Like maybe it was something fun they had in their house that was great, but for a time, or maybe they collected a lot of things. But I think that when it comes down to it, after seeing grandparents pass away and seeing other people in our community pass away, it's really evident that the physical things really aren't what made that person loved and special. And it's okay to let go of some of those things, even though they might be important in the moment, that we can realize, it's okay to pare down. It's okay to streamline things and not feel like we need to have this huge thing to pass on to everybody after us. And
one of the things, just in a little closing thought, Julie Morgenstern wrote a book called Organizing from the Inside Out that I really liked. And one of the things she emphasized was, if there's a lot of stuff in your home that you want and you like it there, that's great. You don't have to get rid of things. If you love it and you want it, that's awesome. It's just, I think, thinking forward, that stuff, yes, like you were saying, that doesn't define you. That's not who you are. Anything that you can do to alleviate the burden for those who are going to follow, I think, is wise. Just making sure that you're not just the dumping ground isn't going to just be left for the people who follow. But hopefully, as we clear this clutter in our lives, as we identify what is most important to us, we're going to be creating space for what Aaliyah was talking about, these memories, this love, these experiences. And if right now you're like, oh, I have spent a lot of my life just collecting things and things and things, maybe it would be healthy to do a little shift and put more of my time into experiences and, gifts that are more consumable and creating that space. So more of my time goes to people and less to stuff. And then we can really focus on what matters most. So, okay. Well, we're so glad you're here with us. Just a few quick announcements on what's coming. If you're in our Arise membership, we have my personal cognitive behavioral therapist, Mike Christensen, who is doing a special class. It's going to be amazing, helping us deal with kind of the thought processes and maybe the overwhelm and anxiety that goes into what we're deciding on as far as our time and our space. So that's going to be March 16th, 2023. And for those who want to learn more about project management, organizing home, personal, family, and business, and how you can do that digitally, I'm teaching a class on Asana. That's for all of our Step Mastery members. So if you're in Step Mastery, come on in. That will be March 21st. And we are just so grateful for the chance to be able to work with you. So whether you're in our STEP program or in our Rise membership, or just here at Learn to Become, enjoying, the resources here in this amazing community, we're so grateful for you. And we'll have all these links on the show notes page. But thanks for being with us at Learn to Become.